My dad let his new wife empty my $180,000 college fund on shopping and vacations, then she left him for her trainer after maxing his credit cards. I, 22 male, never thought I would be posting here, but I need opinions on how to handle this situation. The past week has completely shattered my world and my relationship with my father. I am still trying to process everything that happened. Let me provide some background about my family situation. My parents divorced when I was 12 after my dad had an affair with Sophia, 35 female. My mom, 48 female, got primary custody, but my dad, 50 male, stayed involved in my life through weekly visits and family events. Before the affair, we were a close-knit family. My dad built his business from scratch and was always proud of being a self-made man. He would often talk about the importance of education and started my college fund the day I was born. Growing up, money was never discussed as an issue in our house. My dad's business did well and he always said education was the best investment. During the divorce, he specifically agreed to maintain the college fund as part of the settlement. My mom trusted him completely on this as he had always been responsible with finances. He would show me the account statements every year and talk about how it was growing. Sophia came into our lives when I was 11. She worked as a sales representative at one of my dad's client companies. Within months, my parents started having problems. My mom later found out about the affair when she saw their messages. The divorce was messy, but they tried to keep me out of it. Sophia moved in with my dad right after the divorce was finalized. At first, Sophia tried to be friendly with me. She would buy me expensive gifts and try to bond during my visits. But I kept my distance as I saw how hurt my mom was. Over the years, Sophia and my dad had my half-sister Emma, 8 female. Emma is innocent in all this and I love her dearly. She's the only good thing that came out of their relationship. Last week changed everything. I got accepted into my dream university's engineering program. The tuition and expenses would be around $45,000 per year. I wasn't worried as my college fund had more than enough to cover 4 years. When I went to meet my dad to discuss the expenses, he started acting strangely. He kept changing the subject and suggesting I look at cheaper options. After an hour of deflection, I directly asked him about the college fund. He got defensive and started making excuses about market fluctuations and bad investments. But something felt off about his behavior. When I pressed harder, he finally admitted that the account was empty. I thought his business had problems, but what he revealed next left me speechless. Sophia had been using my college fund for the past 3 years. My dad had given her access to the account, claiming she needed to learn about managing finances. He defended her, saying she grew up poor and never got to experience luxury. According to him, Sophia deserved nice things after her hard life and he couldn't say no when she wanted to shop or travel. I demanded to see the account statements. Each page felt like a punch to my gut. The entire $80,000 was gone on shopping sprees and vacations. There were regular charges from Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and other luxury brands. She spent thousands at high-end spas and salons. The most expensive charge was a 2-week vacation package at Four Seasons Maldives costing $15,000. When I confronted Sophia, she started crying and claimed she didn't know it was my college fund. But that was a lie because the account literally had my name on it. My dad jumped to her defense, saying I was being selfish and inconsiderate. He had the audacity to suggest I take student loans like other students. The same man who always lectured me about avoiding debt was now casually telling me to take massive loans. My dad's solution was that I should work part-time during college to cover expenses. This completely contradicted everything he said while I was growing up. He always insisted that I should focus solely on studies and not worry about money. But now that his wife spent my education fund on designer bags, he wants me to work multiple jobs while studying engineering. I already work at a local diner to cover my basic expenses. The thought of taking $180,000 in loans makes me sick. My mom is beyond furious, but her teacher's salary isn't enough to help much. She offered to take a second job, but I can't let her struggle more because of my dad's betrayal. I blocked both my dad and Sophia on everything. My dad's family is divided on this. His parents think he completely failed as a father and are ashamed of his actions. But his sister is defending Sophia, saying family should help each other in times of need. She conveniently ignores that Sophia isn't helping family, she's stealing from her stepson's future. I had to give up my university dreams and applied to the local community college. It's not what I wanted, but it's all I can afford now. My mom offered to help with community college expenses so I can reduce my work hours and focus more on studies. The guilt of adding to her financial burden is eating me up. The worst part is seeing Sophia's social media posts. She's constantly sharing photos of her shopping hauls and luxury vacations with captions about being blessed. She's living her best life with money that was meant for my education. My dad watches silently as she flaunts her lifestyle while his son's future gets derailed. My half-sister Emma keeps asking when I'll visit next. She's too young to understand what's happening and loves spending time with me. But right now, I can't even look at my dad or Sophia without feeling sick. They betrayed me in the worst possible way and don't even seem sorry about it. I don't know how to move forward from this. The relationship with my father is completely destroyed. He chose his wife's luxury lifestyle over his son's education and future. I'm looking into financial aid options, but the good scholarships for this year are already gone. Any advice on handling this situation would be appreciated. Update 1. Thank you everyone for the supportive comments on my last post. The situation has only gotten worse since then. I'm still trying to process everything that's happening while figuring out my future plans. A lot has changed in these 2 weeks and I need to vent about it. My dad's sister Sarah, 45F, reached out to me last week. She had a long conversation about how I was being too harsh on Sophia and my dad. According to her, Sophia needs to maintain a certain image in their social circle since my dad is a successful businessman. She actually suggested I could live at home during college to save money on accommodation. I was shocked at her insensitivity. I told her I would rather work 3 jobs than depend on them after what they did. Sophia has been rubbing salt in my wounds through her social media activity. She posts daily about her luxurious lifestyle and shopping hauls. Last week she shared photos from their Maldives vacation with captions about being blessed and grateful for her amazing life. The same vacation that cost $15,000 for my college fund. Each photo showed her in designer outfits at expensive restaurants and spas. The worst part is she started a lifestyle blog called Living Lux with Sophia where she gives tips about luxury living on a budget. She showcases her designer collection and writes about finding the best deals on high-end items. The irony of her talking about budgeting while spending my education money makes my blood boil. She even has a section about teaching children the value of money. I couldn't make this up if I tried. My dad has completely enabled her behavior throughout this. My mom revealed some things about their marriage that made me even angrier. During their 15 years together, my dad was extremely strict about expenses. He would track every dollar spent and question any unplanned purchases. My mom had to justify buying new clothes for work or taking me to movies. But with Sophia, he lets her spend thousands without question. Yesterday, my half-sister Emma visited me at the diner during my shift. She was excited to show me her new Louis Vuitton bag that matched Sophia's. Emma innocently told me how Sophia took her on a shopping spree and bought them matching bags worth $2,000 each. She was so happy about her first designer bag, calling it a mother-daughter bonding experience. I couldn't tell her that her special moment was probably funded by my college money. Seeing Emma hurt the most because she doesn't understand what's happening. She asked why I don't come home anymore and if I'm angry at her. I assured her that none of this was her fault and I still love her. But it breaks my heart knowing they're living this lavish lifestyle while I'm working 60 hours a week between 2 jobs. All my friends from high school are leaving for college next month. Their social media is full of dorm shopping and campus tour photos. Meanwhile, I'm stuck here trying to figure out how to pay for community college. My best friend Mark offered to let me stay in his dorm room unofficially and split costs, but that would mean lying to the university administration. I can't risk getting caught and ruining my chances of transferring later. My dad sent a message through his mom saying he could help with community college expenses. He offered to pay the tuition if I agreed to meet and talk things through. I refused immediately. He lost all rights to play father when he chose his wife's shopping addiction over his son's future. His mom understood but said he's really struggling with our estrangement. Some extended family members are pressuring me to forgive him since he's still my father. They keep saying family should stick together through hard times. But where was this family unity when he let Sophia drain my college fund? Why am I expected to be understanding while they shop at designer stores with my education money? A few days ago, I ran into Sophia at the grocery store. She tried to talk to me but I walked away. She followed me to the parking lot crying about how sorry she was and how she would pay me back slowly. Then she had the nerve to ask me not to tell people about this situation as it could affect my dad's business reputation. I laughed and told her she should have thought about reputations before stealing from her stepson. My mom is trying her best to help but I hate seeing her struggle. She's been packing extra food for me to take home and secretly putting money in my account. I found out she's teaching summer school and weekend test prep classes to earn extra money. When I confronted her about it, she broke down saying she felt guilty for trusting my dad with the college fund. The local community college starts next month. I managed to get a small scholarship that covers about 20% of the tuition. Between that, my mom's help, and my 2 jobs, I should be able to manage the first semester. But the dream of becoming an engineer feels more distant than ever. The state university I wanted to transfer to later costs 3 times more than community college. I'm trying to stay focused on my goals but some days are harder than others. Especially when I see Sophia's new posts about planning their anniversary trip to Europe or Emma's excitement about her new designer clothes. Every luxury item they flaunt feels like another reminder of what was stolen from me. Update 2. A huge thank you to everyone who commented on my previous posts. The support means a lot as things keep getting more complicated. My cousin Jack called me last week with information that made the situation even worse than I thought. Jack attended a family dinner at my dad's house where Sophia was showing off her new jewelry. After a few glasses of wine, she started talking about her plans for the future. She bragged about having a separate account with over $100,000 saved for her future children's education. She went into detail about which private schools she was considering and how she wanted her kids to have the best education money could buy. Given the timeline and amount, I was almost certain this was more money for my college fund. I remembered my dad being secretive about the exact total in the past few years. When I was younger, he would proudly show me the statements, but that stopped around the time Sophia moved in. I decided to confront him directly about this. After dodging my calls for days, he finally agreed to meet at a coffee shop. That's when he admitted there was originally $180,000 in my college fund, not $80,000 like he claimed earlier. He had been lying about the total amount for years to hide Sophia's spending. Apparently, Sophia didn't know about this extra money either until recently. When she found out my dad had hidden $100,000 from her, she got upset at him for not trusting her. But instead of feeling guilty about spending my education money, they're now fighting over how to spend the remaining amount. Sophia wants to save it for her future kids while my dad wants to invest it in his business. The truth fully came out during another family dinner last weekend. Sophia had too much wine again and started talking openly about sending her future kids to elite private schools. She went on about how public schools don't provide proper networking opportunities and her children deserve better. My dad just sat there silently while she discussed these plans for money that was meant for my education. What hurt most was her comment about how her kids won't have to worry about student loans like some people. She looked directly at me while saying this. My dad tried to change the subject but the damage was done. Emma asked why I would need student loans when Dad had saved money for my college. No one knew how to respond to that. His parents were at this dinner and finally saw Sophia's true colors. They've completely cut contact with her and told my dad he's failed as a father. They offered to help with my education expenses, but I had to decline. They're retired and living on pension. I can't take their savings too. This situation has divided our entire family. My dad's sister still defends them, but everyone else is horrified. Some relatives I haven't heard from in years are reaching out to offer support. My mom's sister suggested I could live with her family near the state university if I managed to transfer there next year. The community college is going okay, but it's hard staying motivated. Every time I think about the opportunities I lost because of their selfishness, it feels overwhelming. My friend Mark, who got into our dream university, keeps telling me about his engineering projects and internship opportunities. That could have been my life if my dad had protected my future instead of funding his wife's luxury lifestyle. Sophia tried reaching out through social media with a long message about how she sees me as her son and wants to make things right. She claims she's looking for a job to help repay the money. But her Instagram still shows daily shopping hauls and spa visits. It's all empty words to make herself feel better. The hardest part is explaining this situation to Emma. She's old enough to notice the tension but too young to understand why her big brother doesn't come around anymore. My dad told her I'm busy with school and work, which is partly true. I hate lying to her, but she doesn't need to know how her mother stole her brother's future. I'm focusing on maintaining good grades so I can eventually transfer to a better school. My professors say I have potential and one even offered to write me a recommendation letter for scholarship applications. It's not the path I wanted, but I'm trying to make the best of it while working through this betrayal. Update 3. A final update on this situation. Things have taken another dramatic turn in the past week. My dad showed up at my workplace yesterday during my evening shift. He looked terrible, hadn't shaved in days, and his eyes were red from crying. After my shift ended, we talked in the parking lot and he revealed what happened. Sophia has been having an affair with their personal trainer Alex for the past 6 months. She emptied their joint accounts last week and maxed out all his credit cards before leaving. She went on a massive shopping spree as revenge for him hiding money from her. The total damage is over $200,000 between the empty accounts and credit card debt. The worst part is she manipulated Emma throughout all this. She told Emma they were going on a mother-daughter trip to visit Sophia's family. But she actually left Emma with my dad and ran away with Alex. Emma is devastated and keeps asking when her mom is coming back. My dad doesn't know how to explain that Sophia chose luxury and her trainer over her own daughter. He broke down crying in the parking lot, talking about how sorry he was for everything. He said watching Sophia abandon Emma made him realize how badly he failed me as a father. He offered to take loans himself to help with my education now. He even suggested selling his car and downsizing their house to help me transfer to university. But it's too late for all that. I told him he's no longer my father and should focus on fixing his own life and taking care of Emma. The trust is completely broken and no amount of money can repair what he did. He chose Sophia over me for years, enabled her stealing from me, and only feels guilty now because she left him too. I'm doing well at community college despite everything. My grades are good and I'm working towards transferring to state university next year. My mom helped me apply for several scholarships and I won enough to cover most of my expenses next semester. It's not my dream school, but I'm proud of managing everything on my own. Emma still visits me at work with my dad's mom. I try to maintain a relationship with her because none of this is her fault. She's struggling to understand why her mom left and why her brother doesn't come home anymore. I take her for ice cream sometimes and try to give her some stability in all this chaos. But I've gone completely no contact with my dad and blocked Sophia everywhere. Some family members think I'm being too harsh and should forgive him since he's suffering now. They say he learned his lesson after Sophia's betrayal. But they didn't have their future stolen by their own father. They didn't have to watch their college fund being spent on designer bags and luxury vacations. My dad's parents updated me that Sophia is now living with Alex in another state. She posts about starting her new life and finding true happiness. She hasn't contacted Emma once since leaving. My dad is trying to get their marriage annulled and his lawyer is looking into pressing charges for the credit card fraud. I'm focused on building my own future now. Working 2 jobs while studying is exhausting, but it's better than being dependent on people who betrayed me. My professors are supportive and one helped me find a paid internship for next summer. It's not the life I planned, but I'm making it work. The whole experience taught me that blood relations don't mean much if there's no trust or respect. My dad and Sophia showed their true colors when they chose luxury over family. I won't let their actions define my future anymore.